Yeah, I'm Jackson. I have zero experience with carpentry.
I studied at a school for historic preservation in Boston and learned about how things were built, 250 years ago.
There's a long way to go. I'm nowhere near the top. Not that I thought I was, but there's so much more to do out there.
Welcome back to the Passion for Craft podcast. Today we are going through the comments again. And so how appropriate that our
We've only done it one time. It's not like we do it all the time.
What did you say?
It's not like we do it all the time.
You're right.
We're doing it again.
Well, we actually
Like
had a
we've done
two-part
it.
video on our question and answer series last time. And so
Last time?
Yes.
That was like 4 months ago.
correct, episode 25. And so if you're on the YouTube, that is the most current
4 months
release
ago.
on the YouTube, okay?
And these
we're
are
on
from YouTube, right?
This is YouTube.
And so we are, yeah. So, hey, guys, we are monitoring our YouTube page and replying to comments all the time, aka once every 8 months. So we appreciate your comments. Really, I watched a video that was explaining how your shorts can get more, traction among people, and they recommended turning off the notifying your subs whenever you release a new short, because shorts should just naturally come up on your feed as you like something, but not notify you. Like, so if I'm subscribed to Richard's channel, I don't want to get a notification every time he uploads a short. I want to get a notification,
Especially because his shorts are terrible.
I usually
that
just wear.
Palladian window one.
I don't even
is-
wear shorts.
Great. More of a pants guy. But to say, I really want to. I want to know about your videos. I want to know about your long form. So I clicked in. I looked into that. Long story short, now we're here.
Long story short, I like that pun.
Yeah, thanks. I was noticing we have like all these unanswered comments on our YouTube page, and so we were pretty diligent at the beginning of it, and then there's a lull of about 8 months that we have.
Lull.
This small lull.
I think you'd call that a blatant neglect.
You could have almost had a baby in
That's
that
your
amount of
words,
time.
not ours. Yeah. This is our YouTube baby.
We were pregnant.
So what we're gonna do is go through some of the questions that have been said in these comment sections. So that's
All
kind
right,
of
let's do it.
the game plan. Okie dokie. First question. I'm sorry. I forgot. One day ago, our episode on me just dropped. So we do have just comments on me, but there's no good questions there. So I'm going to move right in. This is episode 25, our question and answer part 2. Someone made the comment, traditional German homes could be classified as barn-dominiums. The low German house was a half barn, half living quarters, and they were actually architecturally beautiful. That was high five 1309. So do you have any comment on that? Do you know much about the German half barn? The low German house, I apologize.
It's like a working barn
Yeah,
slash house.
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and go, yes, there's a book in 1420. No.
but that's what you always do.
You like barn-dominiums, right? That's what you always do. That's your whole shtick, right?
My comment is that any building, even in Germany, built within the last 50 years is not a handsome building. Okay?
What about that building on the
That's
screen?
freaking awesome.
Well, that is a low German house. So in your face, barn-dominiums can be beautiful.
But that's
Look at the
also-
aluminum siding. on
That's
that.
300 years old. I mean,
your
that's
whole
not, that's
shtick. That's so funny. That's like the whole theme of your persona.
That's all you do. There's this book. You'd be the nerd, the guy doing it, and the cool guy. No, I'm just-
Did you point at yourself or the cool guy? Just to be clear.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, self-proclaimed.
Yes. So again, right? That is much more charming than something built within the last 50 years. So
Yeah.
yes, the low German house. Yes, he's right. And that was how a lot of those people, even early Americans, would have, their animals living with them and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Half timbering. You just did a drop on that.
it all has to do with kind of when it was built. What was his question? Was it more of a comment?
Yeah, it was a comment. It wasn't a question on
He's
it. It was
saying
just
those
kind
are
of-
like the first
I was
barn-dominiums.
asking, because you love barn-dominiums so much, don't you agree that the low German house is like Anyway,
The barndominium. Here's the deal. You know, that barn project we did, if you follow my YouTube, you know, there's the barndominium today. That's the catchword. And you can go to, I was doing this thing. You can actually, there's these house plans that are called shop plans or house. There's a word for the house and the shop plan together. And
a shouse.
Shouse.
Really?
It's something
Shop
like that.
and house? Like
yeah.
yeah.
It's something like that.
A hop?
I think it is shouse.
Okay. Shop house.
Shop house. Anyway, they're ugly. So there's like this whole barndominium catchphrase that is deceiving because some people go, oh, I love a barndominium, and other people go, barndominium. So barndominium in its worst case is a cheap house built like a metal siding, you know, just I'm gonna live in this big barn, it'll be so cool. That's ugly. That's ugly architecture. That's we don't need more metal buildings right now. And then there's the barndominium, quote unquote, that we did that I wouldn't even call it a barndominium, but in conversations with the client early on, we were talking about, well, it's kind of a barndominium that is awesome.
Would you call it a timber frame?
Yeah,
house?
I mean, it was. Yeah, I mean, barndominium combines the word condo, right? With
Condominium,
barn.
yeah.
And so this wouldn't be that at all. This is a barn house, or you know, this is really a restored barn, kind of more than anything that's been turned into a house. Anyway, I don't even know if I answered the question, but yes, that's what I would say.
Yes, sir. Thanks, nerd. I mean, Dad. The next one is not a question again, but more of a statement. It really, I mean, if we're getting to the core of this one, it is a gauntlet that is being thrown down. And if I'm going to be honest, I agree with D Longmore 1, who is the commenter of this post. So this is for episode 25, question and answer part 2. Affordable. Marsha. I keep hearing that word over and over and over. I wouldn't be here listening if I didn't hope it's true, but let's see some actual examples. Not just talk or drawing about it, but actual work on these average Joe projects. Let's see you produce a new series focused on the average Joe and doing things with an average budget. For example, I like watching what Richard is doing with his own house. Let's see the actual dollar figures and comparisons, doing it the cheap and crappy route. And then, as the Bible says, by their fruits or videos, you shall know them.
Well, I was going to say, look at my channel, because I think if you're looking for the cheapest way to do it, it's going to be doing it yourself. You know, DIY is kind of a term we look down on, but I mean, honestly, if you can learn a craft, do it yourself, you're going to save the most money. But a lot of people just don't have time for that. If you want to see the real crappy stuff, just go to my channel, hit videos, and then go to oldest, and you'll see the real crappy stuff.
So you can see a literal side-by-side comparison of crappy stuff versus.
Well, I mean, let's do this. I mean, you know, the stuff that you used to do, right? When you would go into these houses and you would put up trim and things like that. What size projects were those? I mean, were those average $2,000, average $20,000, average, you know?
They were from $2,000 to $5,000.
$2,000 to $5,000, and you were painting and installing.
Yeah, especially for that price. I mean, anyone who did that, you got a good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. It's. Well, we could spend a whole show talking about that.
Yeah.
Tell me why you say that. Like, what have you learned that makes you say that now?
I think I learned that my time is more valuable than I was letting it go for. And I think because I've been generally a pessimist, I've just been like, oh, cool, at least I'm busy, you know, like I'll just price low and stay busy. I think it's why. I just didn't know my worth, I guess, at the time. But now I feel more valuable because I know more.
And I think that is, I think there's probably a lot of people that can relate to that, because you know, we've talked about it before, but the craftsman and the craft, it gets beat down so much, and it is a battle, it is a fight to try to do good work, to try to make an honest living for your family, but not to be, you know, eaten up by the Karens out there, you know, just you know, just whining and you know, I see your growth as a craftsman, okay, and a businessman and everything else, wrapped up in what this guy's asking, because
Don't point at me. I agree with him, but this guy.
Well, so at the Building and Brews the other day, you made a good comment that you said, I like working for wealthy clients because they keep craft alive and they allow us to do these things. So it's almost like, I mean, if you're a client that's on a really minimal budget, I mean, just honestly, you won't be able to afford some amazing stuff, you know? I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
But you're right. Like, you're not going to be able to put in coffered ceilings into your house. You're not going to be able to, like, do some of those things.
May not be able to.
But there is also a way of elevating. Like, I think the happy medium is there is a way of elevating the craft to a point to where it is still beautiful, still traditional, still holds the values of, what's true, but then also is cheap. And I think that...
I'm not sure I agree with that.
Really? Push back.
Well, I mean, this guy's comment, affordable, is he's basically challenging us to...
We've said in this video, anyone can have something beautiful in their house.
Okay.
And so, like, anyone can make their house beautiful. Anyone can make craft attainable in a lot of different ways. And so, and that's big paraphrasing, but essentially that was our claim, is that, like, you too can take part in beauty and have a piece of this. And so what I'm saying is, you may not go for all the bells and whistles, but you may be able to still get something classically beautiful that is on a smaller scale.
But what was his question when he said affordable?
It wasn't question. He was asking, let's see you produce a new series focused on the average Joe doing things with an average budget. For example, I like watching
because he doesn't think it's possible, or because
Correct.
he thinks.
Yeah. But he goes, I want to see the actual dollar figures and comparisons, doing it the cheap and crappy route versus the other thing. And so I think what his sentiment in this is like, I hear that you're the expert. I hear that you do these, like, on the daily. I hear these things, but then also when you're saying, like, this is affordable, this is not affordable, this, like, whatever.
Okay. He
wants to see a line item.
Yeah.
Because, like, me too, like, I'm a practical guy to where I appreciate what y'all are saying, and I'm like, I believe you at face value if you're saying it can be done, or if you're saying it cannot be done. But what I do think is important is I want to know, like, what is the actual breakdown? And I'm expecting, quite honestly, that it's affordable, but the one that is done traditionally and correctly is a little bit elevated budget-wise, but not by much.
Okay, but to what Richard first said, you got to do it yourself. Anything that was good in our early houses is because I built it, right? If we had an elevated, cabinetry built in, whatever, we did something beautiful, it was because I did it. And because
you're saying not your company's houses, your personal house. Yeah.
Yes. And because myself built it and
Correct.
made it and everything else. Now, how did I make it? What were the ingredients that allowed me to do that? Going to North Bennett Street, learning historic design, understanding craft, knowing how to build things myself, right? Those are all these. I just threw that out, but I mean, there's a lot of work and a lot of time and a lot of things that go into that. So if I understand what he's saying, how do you get that? How do you do that? I would say that it always comes down to, with a client that has a budget, is where do you want to spend money? Okay. Just on the phone with the client. And he's like, if this project's going to be over $1 million, we actually want to wait and do it later because we want to do it right. We'd rather not skimp on it now. Okay. And so he is making compromises about what he's going to do. When I'm working for somebody, and I told you about that project where we're starting to do maybe production houses and things like that, or certainly maybe not entry level, but second level houses, which are affordable. Okay. We are making compromises on the things that we're doing that can still make it. The number one thing that's going to make it beautiful and affordable is careful design. I would continue to push back and say it absolutely is possible, but like my house, I take great pleasure in our mantle. Okay, that was a classically designed mantle, cool mantle. Maybe the hood over our deal, but and
your stove.
The Windsor moldings, right? I think those are good, well designed. But there's not a lot of other things that are in there. Things that I've paid money for, that I've got a few art pieces in there that I'm really proud of. I got a Piranesi print that we got in Italy and that I love. Okay, and there was they put money to it. It was probably $500, right? Now that isn't a ton of money, but it's something I take great pride in. I think it's beautiful, and I think contributes and adds to the beauty of our house. So I'm pushing back on him, saying it doesn't always mean that at the end of the day, I'm going to have a $500,000 house that looks like $1 million house. It's carefully, there's pieces and there's things that you're doing on your house that are going to add value and is going to be beautiful. And so I am clarifying what I meant when I said that, so that he doesn't think, that I'm saying that, well, everybody can have this. It's easily affordable. It's not. It's you're always making compromises. Our clients, luckily, can afford, if there's 100 items, they can afford 110 of them. I can afford 2 of them, right? But they're still putting in beauty. Yeah. They're still crafting well. I just can't do as many of those. Right. If there's 100, I can't do as many.
You brought up a good point, because I think from episode 1, we've literally been saying just switch moldings from what you can get at lumberyards to Windsor, and look what you did right there. And you're spending a little bit more, but it's still definitely within, and it's everyone's budget.
It's a cents difference. It's not like tens of dollars difference in the moldings, right? It's like
if
cents per foot.
Well, I'll try to put some numbers at my house. Okay, so we didn't even go to the trim in the back rooms. We just basically started that entry hall and came in the new parts that we redid. I mean, we probably have, 400 feet of base, 600 feet of casing, right? And there's not really much crown. And so, you're talking, if it's $1 a foot for the material, and then it's, if in Windsor it's $3 a foot, there's your numbers, right? $800 more,
three times the cost,
right? But you're talking, $100 versus $600 or whatever. It's not. Yes, it is. Yeah, that's 5 times or 6 times the cost, but it's, the numbers are low. Yeah, and so you're the 6 times the cost makes it sounds like it's unaffordable. It's not, and so you have paid more, but you've also, like I just said, I just listed off the things that are nice in my house. I listed off those moldings,
and then on top of it, they last longer, and they will perform better.
Well, moldings, not moldings in the house.
They'll look better.
They'll look better for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
I just thought of something that I should do on our Patreon page, because I'm doing all my stuff at my house. I should just make like a price list of everything I'm spending.
That would be really cool.
Because I just put I did my firebox, and I just put my marble in, my hearth, and then
get in the comments if you want to see that,
corner.
if that would be something you're interested in.
Another thing I did was for my marble pieces, I went to different marble yards, because I only needed a little bit for the legs and then the head, and I just asked for remnants, and they were able to cut me remnants. I handed them measurements. It was like $1,200 for that marble.
Yeah.
And they, with the cutting.
That's great.
And I just put it in. So there's ways to do it. Like, this is going to be a cool mantle, and it's going to be pretty cheap, actually. Like, when you think about a mantle, there's not a lot of linear footage of molding.
Yeah.
But the crafty part is knowing how to organize them.
And then I want to push back.
That's right. That's right.
That's what I want to push back on.
That piece is a huge piece.
Yeah. Because it is, I think something we've been saying consistently is like, you can, like, homes are designed really poorly in America and built really poorly and put together really poorly, but we're trying to harken back to an understanding of good design. And so, again, with the affordability and all of that, it's like these things are attainable. Like, even in the doors that you buy and in the windows that you get in, they are attainable in your house. But
to that point, I was giving an AIA talk in Pittsburgh yesterday. What's today? Friday, Wednesday. I did that Wednesday. I made an announcement in that meeting, and I was sitting there thinking, and then it kind of hit me, and I was like, I would not buy molding made or designed after 1945,
including the ones you've designed.
Wait, you said that, and then you just went, oh.
I said, then I was like, I think that's true. Yeah. And it was an epiphany that I was like, no, that's, and I'm sitting there trying to think, what would be the examples of something that wouldn't be true? But the Windsor and the Kuchen lines that I designed are all based on historic precedent. And so I started looking through the contemporary molding catalogs and the things that are available at Home Depot and Lowe's and things. All of those are designed after 1945. So if you look at traditional molding catalogs, you can buy every molding in those catalogs. But any molding that's designed after 1945, do not buy it.
Wow.
Wow, right? That's crazy. But that goes back to that traditional design piece that a lot of people don't understand, and why things can be organized better through our eyes, right? Because we understand the historic precedent and understand that, so that we can, for less money, build something beautiful.
And it's such a fun journey, because like we've been doing this this is our anniversary. When did we?
No,
we're almost at a year.
Yeah, we are. Black Friday is our
crazy.
anniversary.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
So like just in the last year
Yeah.
of working with Brent on these jobs and looking at all these stuff, I mean, I feel like confident in like organization of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not like some architect or something, but I've learned a ton, so I can confidently walk in and do
so
stuff.
just to clarify our thesis
Well,
statement.
Yeah.
Well, because I think one of the things, like we speak a lot about affordability. We speak a lot about wanting beautiful things and wanting to elevate design. It seems like those, maybe in my mind and maybe in the listener's mind as well, but like I've been conflating the two of those things, maybe, where we can have beautiful design that is affordable, but we just need to know what we're doing in order to do that.
Yes.
And so we need it, like the understanding piece of it is important, but then also in the affordable building piece, like there is an element of and this is a later comment, but quality, speed, or cost. And so
Yeah, no,
you're playing with that triangle of we can take two, but not one.
I would also point out and highlight the fact that Richard, in the last 10 minutes, has stated that his early stuff, he said, was cheap, and everybody got a good deal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's changed? All that's changed is up here between his ears. That's he hasn't become a better craftsman, although he has become a better craftsman. But he has the same basic level of skill, right, that he had back
His
then.
skill hasn't
measuring
changed.
and cutting.
His knowledge has
Measuring
changed.
cutting hasn't changed.
Yeah.
It's all the matter of how you organize and how you put that
So
stuff
true.
together. And so if you're a craftsman out there who's kind of throwing their work away, in other words, just going for the lowest price, doing that thing, chasing that game, realize that the thing that turned Richard's world around, was that understanding of historic precedent. And I don't know how you would organize that, if you agree with that, or is it, if we're going to offer a class, if we're going to have a university where we're going to have craftsmen come in, guys who have their tool belt on and want to learn this stuff, right? We would be teaching about classical design and historic building methods, right?
Yes, I totally
And
agree.
you could almost take guys who are, everybody's probably the same skill level. If they came to that thing, they'd have to have a certain skill. We could teach them skills that they could apply to and do better stuff, make more money, everything else.
I believe so. I believe it's all in the mind. Yeah, it's all in the knowledge of it, of it's all organization. Like that mantle. I wouldn't have known what to do with that mantle really a year ago, the one that I'm building for my own house. But I've looked at the Batty Langley books, the inspiration. I've taken a ton of pictures at the jobs that you've had us on, and I'm just like, okay, I think I got this. This is gonna be. And then I did that Pecky Cypress mantle. That was a huge boost in confidence.
Yeah,
that one. So. Yeah, it's all just experience in the classical orders, I think. I think it always goes back to
one
that.
of the things I'm thinking about doing, and I'm thinking about this university for apprentices, for journeymen.
Is this an announcement?
This is if anybody's interested,
The
kind of
journeyman
thing.
course.
I'm next spring. I just did the first course with my project managers. I'm going to do a Master Builder University.
Master Builder Masterclass.
Master Builder University, where we're basically going to invite, or open it up to 10 builders to come in and teach them and train them on things that can make them master builders. You could do the same thing for, trim carpenters. You could do the same thing for those guys. And so I'm throwing that out because I am going to do this in the spring.
Coming spring or
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
You said
24.
next,
Spring of 24.
Perfect.
Opened it up, master building for builders, but we could do the same thing for trim carpenters.
So if you're on
And
the
if you-
Patreon,
if you're
you
interested,
have prime access right now.
well, and that's
You
what I was
reach out
going to do
first.
is open that up and so see what people think.
That would be awesome.
It'd be awesome.
Yeah.
How long would it be?
Well, the plan for mine would be they come in Thursday night, we have dinner, drinks, get to know each other, start Friday morning.
That's cool.
4, maybe 5 lectures through the morning, and then they'll actually have to do homework before they come, but they'll send in plans of challenging things that they're building, and we'll walk through how to fix those and how to think about those. And then Saturday morning will be a one-on-one with me, how to grow your business, how to build your business,
Wow.
stuff like that.
That's
So,
cool.
anyway, so I would think that if you did the same thing with Richard, they come in, everybody goes, barbecue and beer the Thursday night. Friday we have classes. Friday afternoon we have
That would be awesome.
troubleshooting session. How would you do this? How would you build this? How would you just practice some of those things they learn? And then Saturday they get with Richard, and he talks to them about how
I'm
to, how
down
to
to
grow
do
their
that.
business.
That'd be cool to write up a curriculum and
Yeah.
That would be cool.
just
So
basic.
Brittany and I
layout of a wall.
are building that now. We just did the first talk with my builders. What is a master builder, and what does it look like today? And the guy, my project managers, they're kind of my practice group. They loved it, so we're going to keep doing those, and then
The guinea
be
pigs.
ready in the spring. They're guinea pigs.
What'd they say? They liked it?
Loved it.
Nice.
They were just pumped.
Yeah, because this is what they're doing every day, and it's important.
And what I was showing them is that historically, there's 4 or 5 guys that's doing exactly what, and this is what they did, and this is how they, achieved greatness. And what does that look like for you guys today? It's fun to think about this trade, our profession, our builder, as this ancient trade that we've been practicing for thousands of years, instead of, oh crap, I got to go, I'll never get out of this grind. I'm never going to, no.
Yeah,
We are practicing a trade and a skill that's like there's
it's the highest form of art to me.
There's an awesome profession. And so people don't look at it as a profession, and it's an awesome profession.
I dropped something off at this downtown post office right here this morning.
Yes, that's an amazing
I
building.
mean, have you been in the
It's
architecture?
unbelievable.
I'd never been in there, and I was just like,
It's like
we should come here and
the
do
it
floors
is
are
a
crazy.
palace.
the column solid marble.
yeah, the marble is awesome.
But that's, to me, the building is the highest form of art. I mean, I'm biased, of course, but
But then also like to have a building like your post office in like a place like that is really cool. It's like, staple
So
of the town.
there's a video I was telling Austin and Kristen I want to do that I was driving. The same kind of thing. Exactly the same thing. There's I think it's an ATT. It might be an electric building that is on this back streets near my neighborhood. I was cutting through and I drove by it, and there's all this Art Deco, architecture on it. It's incredibly designed. And I was sitting there going, okay, it was probably built in 1930 because of the Art Deco stuff and things like that. And I was like, this is a control center,
like
right?
a utility building.
Yeah, this is a
right?
utility building. Today it would be built out of, it'd be a metal building. And yet,
Ugh.
90 years ago, they designed and built this thing like a cathedral to power. It was just like, you're just like, what
They
were
even
they
have,
they
like-
changed. We don't even think about that anymore. And anyway.
There's a building on 7th Street. We did a job years ago for a lady across the street. She was in the high rise, and she's like, that used to be an electric building owned by these brothers or something. But in the freeze, they have like a hand gripping lightning and stuff.
No
like,
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's all
it's
kinds
so
of stuff
cool.
like
That's
that.
cool.
It's awesome.
Cool little
It's
details.
like they cared about stuff. It was.
It's like they
But
cared
then if you
about
look at
Like they cared.
modern stuff, is just
Yeah.
It's the cheap
Just
and
get it
fast.
done.
It's the cheap and fast.
I was thinking about this. You know how you hate that stuff's called builder grade?
Yeah.
We should try to flip that to business grade. Like, oh, that's a business grade thing, because whoever they only care about the business,
Business
Like,
grade
I
is a
like
good
that.
term for that.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause you
business
don't
grade
care
would,
about it.
you're
just
care
trying
about
to
the
make a
money,
buck.
which
Yeah.
is,
Oh, you want the
business grade.
business grade one?
Yeah.
Because I got all this builder grade stuff over
Yeah.
here.
That I like
You know,
that.
it's actually
Yeah,
a
I like
great
that.
I was
idea.
thinking about that this morning. I was like, we got to flip that.
So it starts with you. Okay. Start calling it business grade if it
I thought you
sucks.
pointed
If
at
it's
Austin
cheap.
right now.
Yeah, I did too.
Like
Starts with you, Austin. Good luck, man.
Do you have other questions?
I got another.
I
thing
do.
about
I
that
have a
real quick.
lot. We have 8 months worth or a year's worth of questions.
And we've done
so-
2.
I got a question for you real quick while we're talking about flipping the script on terms. Why is it called a chair rail? I think because you said it's not for the chair, the back of the chair. Wouldn't it be like a pedestal rail or a pedestal molding?
It's called a dado. It's called a surbase. So in the historic pattern books, in Beta Lang's book, he doesn't call it a chair rail. He calls it a surbase or a dado. And so there is an historic term. I probably should do a deep dive on when they started using the word chair rail.
Because it doesn't make sense, right?
It doesn't make sense.
It's weird. I don't like calling it that anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a deceptive
Don't
term.
they? I thought they just called it that because it was the same height as the chair.
That's what he says. It's not true.
It's
though.
not. Like
I didn't watch the video.
I had guys pushing back. Thanks, son. I had guys.
Love your channel. Big fan of your work.
I had guys pushing back on me. He goes, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. Everybody knows you measure the back of the chair to establish the chair rail height. I was sitting there. Enough people have done that. I was sitting there going, when have I ever measured the back of a chair? Even before I didn't know that, I never measured a chair to figure out the chair rail. That's the stupidest thing I've ever
But also,
heard.
that would also imply you have to have your furniture before you have the house finished.
It
know what I mean?
is
And
a
all chair backs aren't
All
the
chair
same.
backs are like, look at this. This one's higher than that one.
well, think about some of the Frank Lloyd Wright's chairs that go up 4 feet high.
The
right?
chair rail would look awesome in that
Mr.
house.
Wright comes in. What?
It's just
It's the back of your chair, sir.
it's just it basically what you're saying is that the chair rail is a functional piece that you're protecting the painting for the function of the house. And that's not what it's. This is architecture. This is about establishing proportion and scale. We're not trying to protect the paint.
Yeah.
That's not what we're trying to do. If you want to do that, to call it a protection painting rail, right? It is just. It
I
is
think
not
paint rail would sound better. But
It is not a chair rail.
we can come up with a longer name
We need to
for it.
change
if we
the
want.
term because
Yes,
I don't like.
there's a lot of terms.
I
we
see.
need
Yeah,
to
are there
change.
any? What are the other? That's an episode in of itself. But
Yeah.
what are the other terms that we need to change? What are some architectural terms that got it wrong? I know coining's one for me.
Well, I don't know.
You're not changing that.
I know, but it's weird. Why are we calling it QUOINING?
Yeah, we
it's
could
like
do a deep dive on
the
that.
corner.
But sounds kind of geeky coming from the cool guy here.
Well, I make it cool. It'd be cool when I do it. Because
Yeah.
well, I've got another series of questions here if y'all would like. This one is from our how much should a window cost? So Richard, I don't know what your experience with windows is, but especially built like science behind windows. So this may be for
Well, I know a
nerd
little
over
bit
there.
about Windows. I know about the cost a little bit. Because I got that price.
Yeah.
We've talked about my quote
Yeah,
from
totally.
Pella.
Do you want to read us the question first?
No,
or
I
are you
like
throwing
this.
it out
Let's
there?
just hang on to
Yeah.
that. What do we think, guys? Hi, Brent. Great video. Actually, it's all of us. So,
Yeah, thanks, man.
yeah. I mean, do we even exist? Anyway, this question is probably more for Brent. I was wondering, how does a guy who went to school and studied woodworking then build up a business around that profession have a son who has no experience with woodworking?
That is a good question. Let's spend some time there.
Usually when a kid has a dad in the trades, he spends all his free time out in the shop trying everything he can. I'm teasing. Actually, I do have 3 questions. With regards to your comments about insulated glass units failing, I was wondering if you'd heard of light zone glass out of Canada. They use air between the panes, so there's no danger of a gas leaking out through a broken edge seal and the window losing insulating values. So I think this is from episode 21, the how much should a window cost, which is an episode where you talked about the double paned glass with the insulating air in between.
Well, all insulated glass has air in between.
Yes. So this guy's implying that the light zone glass actually doesn't have air in between, but instead has a gas in between, which helps with the insulating values in Canada, which I would imagine is a colder climate if I were to take a stab in the dark.
Well, we have argon gas-filled windows here.
Really?
Yeah.
So it must be a
That
common
was a
thing.
What is it
selling
called?
point.
Light zone?
Light zone glass out of Canada. And I think the name is just light zone, not light zone glass out of Canada, if you...
Light. It's a LITE.
You know what? Austin actually already beat you to it. It's on the screen right now if you want to...
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
So it looks like there's like a film in between that maybe helps with holding the gas in or helps with potentially doing like
I wonder what a PET film is.
insulating. It looks like a clear vinyl roll sheet. It's just like clear vinyl that goes through, just probably to help with insulation.
I mean, all that is a fancy piece of insulated glass.
Well, if I remember correctly, one of the things that you'd said in that video, a lot of your windows, you're focused on their performance here in the South, here in places where, because this is where your business is, and that's the primary focus. But I know you've talked about like looking into other stuff.
What's his question though?
His question is, have
you heard of
it? But then he asks, and he has 3 questions. So have you heard of Light Zone? And then he says, do your single pane windows come in styles other than double hung? We can get to that in a sec. Yes. For colder climates, do you make storm windows with Pilkington Spacia glass, or would you recommend them? And so he basically was just saying like, I think what he's getting at is, he's talking about Canada. He's talking about colder climates. Is there something going on with
absolutely?
Like, the double insulation?
Here's the deal. Okay, we're trying to build a window that's going to last 100 years. Okay, this Light Zone glass is a new insulated glass. Okay, we don't know whether it's going to last 100 years. Okay, I suspect it won't. Okay, that would be my guess. Mm-hmm. But most things don't, right? So that I'm not being cynical. I'm just being practical. When you look at historic buildings, and our experience of working on historic buildings shows us that these windows do last 100 years, and so we are copying that. To rely on a new, developed glass, insulated glass, is not practical in my opinion. Mm. So we absolutely come up with do the storms with the Pilkington Spacia glass. Okay, I think that's an excellent idea. The reason we push the Pilkington Spacia over a regular double insulated glass is because the glass is actually brazed with glass on the outside, so we're not relying on a fiberglass or neoprene or other kind of seal that's going to keep the glass from fogging up. The other thing about Pilkington is actually a vacuum seal. That's why there's a black dot there. A vacuum is a really powerful tool that stops the air infiltration, heat and cold. So, normal insulated glass, 7/16, that's about as thin a piece of insulated glass as you can get. It has an R value of 2, okay? Those have an R value of between 5 and 7, okay? And so their ability to resist the cold coming in his cold climate is powerful. So we think an excellent window is a single pane window so it lasts 100 years, and an exterior storm with Pilkington glass in a cold climate. That would be my solution for that.
Sorry, when you say an exterior storm,
yeah,
that is still a single pane.
Well, it's a double pane. You have a Pilkington Spacia glass in the storm.
In the storm, what does that mean? Sorry.
Well, you've got a storm window, so that has a storm window. So there's your double hung window. Uh-huh. The storm is hanging where those clips are.
Okay. Oh, so there's another window that just goes in front.
It's called a storm window.
Got it. And that is
hangs in the same place as the screen. Yeah, and that's for the cold air, because what you're doing is you're putting that storm, which hangs in front of your window, using Pilkington glass, and you've got a very efficient window.
And that provides the insulating values, not the actual double hung window.
Well, the double hung window is going to have a R value, or it's going to have its own piece. But by putting the Pilkington Spacia storm in front of it, you've got a excellent window.
Would you put Pilkington Spacia in the window itself?
I would. If in a cold climate, I'd absolutely do that. Mm-hmm. And people go, I hate the black dot. Well, do you want efficiency or do you not? Mm-hmm. Okay, because that is the most efficient piece of glass, and it's something that's going to last a long time. Mm-hmm. So quit your about the black dot, because either you want performance or you want something that lasts a long time. Mm-hmm.
And that wood is a good.
Can you
was an excellent insulator.
Can you give me an audio bite of you just saying the word complaining?
Complaining.
Thank you. Audio. Austin in post is going to go replace your.
You should say also complaining. Quit your complaining. About.
Quit your complaining about. So I think that completely answers the question. So he was asking,
fired up on that.
Do you recommend Pilkington Spacia? It is the best insulation glass. That's what I heard.
That does answer the question.
And that other glass he's talking about, it looked like it would have been too thick to use in your application anyways.
Again, I'm not.
We don't know what that is.
Let's have a product live for 20 years before we even start talking about. I remember on our house's PEX before our plumber came to us and said, "Look, PEX has been around for at least 20 years." He goes, "I think we can now start safely using it." Right? I appreciated that approach as opposed to saying, "I found this new product," and then it leaks in your walls and everybody's pissed off.
Everybody's mad.
Everybody's mad.
Can we put a parental advisory explicit content at the beginning of this one?
Sorry about that.
No, it's funny.
It's funny.
Okay. We had a, here we go. We're ready?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just found it. This is from actually the same guy who asked the last question about the windows. His name's Ryan Sue 4000. I forgot to say it.
Ryan he follows me. He actually has really good questions.
Yeah, he does. I mean,
he is very thoughtful. So Ryan, thanks for all your questions. Thanks for your stuff. He actually will send me videos. Hey, you ought to look at this. You ought to look at this. So it's good stuff. I trust Ryan's questions. Go ahead.
That's good. One thing, sorry, we didn't answer this in the last question. He did ask, does it come in other styles than double hung? And the answer is yes.
Correct.
But the
casements or double hung.
Go ahead and explain.
Single?
What is casement? It doesn't come single, right? Because that's the whole.
What's single?
The 100-year window. Do you have a single hung 100-year window?
Well, yeah, you can do single hung for sure.
But
single hung just means the top sash is
cheaper.
not weighted. Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so, yes, we in fact we've done it a lot.
Yeah.
Do single hung, and historically you could get single hung windows.
Yeah.
And today with air conditioning, most people want operability in their sash, but very few people are lowering their top sash, even though it can create incredible convection air through your house, like on a
super hot Texas day.
Well, not only that day, but I'm thinking even on a spring day. Like the spring day, it's been winter. It's kind of stuffy in your house. Open that up. The air movement you get through your house is awesome. So, but we do single hung. They make a lot of sense for new houses. We also do a casement. So those are the two window styles historically that
you've done a triple hung, right?
We've done a triple hung.
What is a casement? Sorry.
Casement
like a French door.
It's a window that opens like a door.
Oh, cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a double. French casement, right? Is a double? Or is that
French casement is actually an in-swing casement.
Okay.
So you have outswing and in-swing casements.
French doing it backwards. Classic. All right. So this next question by Ryan Sue is, hello. Very
Hi.
formal. Many dormers on older homes were there just to provide an interesting feature on the roof. This is from our dormer clip.
That's
I think
not
I said
true.
that. No, you trust Ryan Sue. He said many dormers on older homes were there just to provide an interesting feature on the roof. The space behind them was typically an empty attic, and therefore the dormer walls didn't need to be insulated. Is that?
That's true.
Okay, so you did. Since people now use their attic spaces for bedrooms and other functions, how do you provide a high level of insulation inside the dormer's sidewalls without making them the front picture frame of trim around the dormer window look too wide and out of proportion?
Again, you're confusing function and aesthetics. Okay, if your goal is pure function, then because what he's referencing is when we talk about building historic dormers, historically they would take the side stud wall and actually turn it on its flat. Okay, so that it was very thin. So the trim around the window actually covered to the outside edge of the dormer. And he said, well, how do you insulate that?
Because you're now not operating with 4 inches of space. You're now operating with
Inch and a half.
Inch and a half, yeah.
So, and the stud's real wide. And so, it's taking up space there. And so technically, if your goal is energy performance, then you're probably going to want to have a wider space in there and everything else. I would say I would sacrifice the 3% of wall space that's going to be made up in that attic of dormer walls and say, just insulate those well, get it airtight, really, because air movement is what's going to be causing the bigger problem. And I would have aesthetics over function. Okay. But if you really want to get your R value and really want to fight those things and get down to a passive house, then yeah, then you handle the framing of that side dormer wall differently. But look, I mean, how much, and I said 3%, how much of your attic wall is going to be side walls of dormers?
3%, probably.
Yeah, very small.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's just like, it bugs me. if I sound annoyed,
You do.
It bugs me when guys want to chase after these performance things to the detriment of everything else. And you're just like, okay, all right, really? Do you want to get to the 100% so you can check the box, or can we be at 89 and have a beautiful house?
Yeah. That makes sense. But also, I would ask the question: like, you're turning the wood on its side, wouldn't that actually help insulate, or no?
It is. Wood is a good thermal break.
I know it's not airtight, but it is a thermal break.
Yeah, it's not airtight. The great analogy that I had one time, a guy used to work for me. I need to go find this guy. There's apparently a one-armed.
I don't know why this is funny, but I can't wait what's happening.
It's funny that's what I remember about him. He had
one arm. Why, that's memorable.
Energy efficiency engineer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Energy efficiency aficionado.
Yeah. Engineer who his analogy, okay, for airtight houses. He said, what is the absolute coldest weather we could be? Like, what's the coldest temperature you think we'd have to deal with?
Like here?
Yeah.
Like 10.
Okay. Let's say it's -60. Okay. And what is the strongest wind we're ever going to have?
I don't know.
Like 40?
Yeah. Let's say it's 300 miles an hour. Okay.
Okay.
So
why?
Because in an airplane, okay, it's -60 degrees and you're flying at 500 miles an hour, right? And yet you're fairly comfortable in that space.
Yeah.
Why? Because if you've ever been in an exit row of an airplane, you can actually feel air coming through and it's really cold. Okay. His whole point was it's airflow that causes the problem, not those temperatures and not that wind.
Yeah.
So if you can seal that dormer up and keep the airflow from coming in, if it's airtight, then
it doesn't matter if it's -60.
The difference between the thing isn't as big a deal as airflow. When I thought that was a good analogy.
Yeah.
And
where's the one arm come into play? Is that just is that just that you just threw that?
That was
there?
the memorable feature that the guy so I had a project manager.
I don't remember anything about what he said, but he had one arm.
He was so I had a project manager from Arkansas. Okay.
Oh, there's another feature.
Yeah. And he was telling me
his name.
Now this is like 2009.
Okay.
Maybe even 2005 is something like that. And so this was pre-YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay. This is
Wait, 2005?
YouTube's 2009.
3.
It was a dating app in
2003.
2000.
Dating app? YouTube?
Yes.
Wait, what, in 2003?
Jackson's firing away.
It was 5.
It's 2005, February 14th, 2005.
YouTube expert right here.
Wow.
So let me just say it was very early in YouTube's world.
Yeah,
okay.
Dating app.
It was not when it was a dating app.
And so he was watching these VHS, I guess, videos of this guy. And he goes, he's kind of funny dude. I mean, he's got one arm. He's from Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like,
So you didn't actually know this guy?
I didn't know him.
Oh, okay.
I just saw his videos.
I thought you were like just.
I thought you knew the guy. That's why I was like, why don't you know his name?
And I need to go chase it down because I remember.
You also said, I need to go find this guy, which made it seem
like you knew.
like the national treasure. He was lost somewhere. I gotta go find him.
He is lost to me. And someone actually is watching this video.
His videos are lost. Yeah, comment if you know the video.
His videos are probably on YouTube.
They probably are.
They might be.
Just one arm. Yeah. Type it in. I mean, it's got to be there.
It's got to be there. Anyway, so Ryan Sue, good question. I think it's air infiltration, and I would be fighting for aesthetics before I'd be fighting for a, lower R value in that 3% of your roof wall face.
Awesome. And our last one was a short that we had 3 comments on that I thought were really funny or fun. Maybe not fun. I don't know. All right. So the episode was, what style is the White House? That was the question. So it was a clip, and we asked, what style is the White House? It's a short clip. And everyone replied. We had 3 replies. One said Georgian. One said Roman with Doric columns. And then one said, it's taking money from poor people since the 1800s style and giving to the rich style. So, those were the 3 comments on the video. What style did we say? I know it's a hybrid. I know that's what we like ultimately
neoclassical.
Neoclassical probably is.
I've always understood it as Palladian. And so, it's not built.
Hold on. I'm going to watch I just want to make sure.
Federal because it's a federal building.
Okay, it was just I just want to make sure it was the right.
And it did sound dumb.
James Hoban was the architect, and he was a Palladian aficionado. And so the temple front with the columns and things like that is Palladian. I'd probably say it's that more than anything. It was built during the federal period, so it's not Georgian. But I understand why that guy might have said it looks Georgian, because it looks like a Palladian villa, which is more Georgian in style. So, yeah, I mean, look, it's funny because the Thistle Hill is neoclassical.
Yeah.
Okay. Somebody back then, a realtor or somebody said it's neo-Georgian. Okay. Mm-hmm. There's nothing Georgian in that house. Mm. Okay. And it's not neo-Georgian. There's no Georgian building that looks like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like, who decided that? And so I'm at there's a TCU interior design course that's doing these things. And so every one of them got up and said, we know it's neo-Georgian. We know it's neo-Georgian. I was just like,
were you in the audience?
Yeah, I was the judge during their design competition for.
Did you just roast them?
Yeah.
How'd you handle it?
I ignored it.
Oh, well, yeah. Glad you're teaching people. They
should watch this video.
Yeah. Well, speaking of, there was one more comment that was left behind on this video. It was very funny. It said, shout out to Scotty P1303. Thanks for clarifying that. I'm clicking do not recommend. So he's opted out of our videos entirely.
Hey, we're sorry to see you go.
So we're out of his algorithm, but he was happy to hear the clarification of the White House. So, guys, that's all the questions that we've got this week. We have made a actually sizable dent into some of the questions that we've gotten.
Really?
Yeah, we're 2 months back, so actually pretty good. So we may do a part 2 to this one again. I think we've had some good productive conversations, and anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time, and just remember, if you want to see these first thing, you can join in the Patreon and hear a lot of these answers. So see you soon.